The Commissioner-General of the Royal Thai Police, Police General Pheo Dahnaranjata, called the crisis meeting concerning the two attacks also for 4:30 p.m, which was 30 minutes after the news of the bombings had reached him. Eyewitnesses, who included on-duty police officers, officials at other embassies in the area and local residents, put the timing of the attack on the British Embassy at 3:48 p.m, and the second on the American Embassy just 4 minutes later. The fire brigade reported that the fires in the buildings were under control, but still burning, and that the areas were still too hot to enter. Not that they had the authority to do that anyway, since the embassies were technically on foreign soil. The police reported that the areas had been cordoned off for fear of secondary explosions, and the Thai Foreign Office reported that their ambassadors in London and Washington had requested a list of all Thai nationals who had worked in the embassies, and were standing by to pass on any reports from Bangkok they had to the British and American governments. The Commissioner-General was assured that everything was being done that could be done, and that the foreign governments would send the lists of employees later that day. He knew from experience that he would be required to launch his own investigation into the terrorist attacks, but that the British and the Americans would want the freedom to make their own inquiries as well. He had no objections to that per se, so long as their people realised that they were on his patch and gave him the respect that he deserved. His first move was to find out who owned the helicopter, so he ordered one of his deputies to get on with that, while he worked on his speech for the news bulletin. It was a priority, as the news crew from Military Channel 7 were already outside waiting, and they would have to be told something quickly, although it had to be done properly, as this was his first time on the world stage, and he wanted to look competent and efficient. As it happened, the first hurried news reports of the attack had already been televised. Some witnesses had taken footage of the helicopter hovering over the British Embassy and followed it on its deadly mission. So it had taken a simple phone call to trace the owners of the helicopter from the call sign that was stenciled on its fuselage. It was owned by a local company called Bangkok Aerial Photography Limited that leased helicopters with pilots, mostly for the purpose of aerial photography. Some people were trying to sell their videos, while others had just uploaded them to YouTube for the world to see and copy, which many TV stations did without scruples. The police chief's statement and appeal for information was tagged onto the end of that coverage. The people of Thailand were horrified and outraged that such atrocities could be perpetrated on Thai soil, or at least on embassies in Thailand. The four men seated at one end of the large table in Cabinet Office Briefing Room A, for which the abbreviation was COBRA. In number 10 were the Foreign Secretary, the Secretary of Defence, Toby Smythe, the Chief of Defence Staff, Air Chief Marshal Sir Roderick Jones, and the Chief of MI6, Sir Arthur Tobin. Richard Wilkinson handed out a sheet of paper to each man and put one before the empty seat at the head of the table for the PM, who was due any moment. "Chief, is it true that one of your men in the embassy was Michael Adams?" "Yes, that's right, Toby. Did you know him?" "Not well, but we did have occasions to meet. Twice, I think. He struck me as a good man." "Commiserations, old man." "Thank you, Toby. People said that he was solid. Just put in for leave to get married, apparently. A girl in the office. A Thai. Bit of a stunner by all accounts." "Order, gentlemen," said the Foreign Secretary, tapping the table with his knuckles. "Thank you. I apologise for the paucity of intel, gentlemen. But that's all we have at the moment. However, there's more information coming in all the time. The time difference doesn't help." "Yes, that's one of the gems of information you include in the fact sheet. They're 7 hours ahead of us," said the head of MI6, shirtily. "All this stuff has been on the television several times since it happened. Yes, I'm sorry, Arthur, but all our bods were killed in the attack. It was a total wipeout in our embassy and the Yanks." Suddenly the doors opened at the far end of the room, and the PM entered with his entourage. "All right, you may leave us now," he told them. "Tell all concerned that we are not to be disturbed for anything. This meeting has top priority." He watched as his staff left the room. "All right, gentlemen, let's get down to business.